What they're dealing with is money wounds. She grew up in a life of abundance. He grew up in a life of lack, and we have to be able to recognize it as money wounds.
Welcome to the Grace Marriage Podcast. I'm Brad Rhodes.
And I'm Marilyn Rhodes. We're here to help you build a marriage that's stronger, more connected, and full of grace.
I'm Rick Dayton, joining Brad and Marilyn as we bring you weekly conversations designed to inspire and equip you to live intentionally in your marriage.
We'll share practical tips, powerful stories, and strategies to help you and your spouse grow closer and thrive together.
So whether you're just starting out or have been married for years, there's always room to grow. Let's do this together. This is the Grace Marriage Podcast.
This is Brad Rhodes on the Grace Marriage Podcast, and I'm blessed to have a friend in ministry and somebody that's helping a lot of people in an area that people need a lot of help in, and that is finances. Joe Sangl, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Brad. So good to see you again.
You as well. Why don't you start by just telling our audience kind of who is Joe Sangl?
Well, I'm a fired up individual. If you meet me, you're going to hear the word fired up in about the first 20 words that I say. Met my bride at Purdue University on my first weekend there, even before I even took my first freshman class. And we got married when we graduated. Going to celebrate 29 years of marriage this year, June 7th. And I am a mechanical engineer by degree. In fact, on the day we're recording this, it is the 30th anniversary to the day that I got my degree in mechanical engineering from Purdue, and the 25th anniversary that I got my master's in business from Clemson University. But I found my calling when I helped plant a church here in South Carolina, and ended up becoming a pastor of financial planning and counseling for that ministry as we grew, and helping people become wise stewards of all that God's given them, their time, talent, and their treasure. And that really got me connected with Enjoy Stewardship Solutions. And now that's all I do, is help people honor God with all the resources He's placed in their hands.
Well, in your experience, what are the most common stress points in marriage as it relates to finances? I mean, is it spending? Is it debt? Is it you need to give more? Is it just, Brad, all the above? And what are you seeing?
Well, the answer, can you answer yes? Is that the choice? Yes. I was literally in my office, because I talk about money a lot. I have a TV that scrolls CNBC, and I saw two statistics that they shared today from the New York Fed, that 90-day delinquencies overall are at a 9-year high. Credit cards are at a 15-year high. Auto loan delinquencies are at an all-time high. And it is unbelievable when you see it, because really the biggest stress is, when I boil it down, it's having no plan. And because of that, couples don't communicate about it. And they don't like communicating about it because it's a challenging topic. It is saying no to yourself, no to your kids, no to dreams. And so that's where I see people struggling, is they see that their dreams are being deferred, or they're not going to become possible at all. So as you know, it's one of the top 3 things couples fight about. So it's debt, it's overspending, but the bigger picture is they don't really have a plan and they're not communicating about it.
Yeah, and a lot of folks have just different kind of mentalities on money. I mean, I've talked to some younger couples. They're like, look, we don't want to wait till we're 65 years old and have trouble getting out of bed to enjoy life. I'd rather not have much at 65 and have a blast with my kids and family and just spend it. Then you have others that are very, savers and planning and thinking next generation. And so a lot of times those two philosophies collide in marriage.
They do collide. I've got a good couple that is a friend of mine. I've known him for a long, long time. And she is the head of fun. She is the head of fun department, wants to have fun all the time. He is an accountant by degree. He's an accountant by his work, and everything's planning for the future. And she's always saying, can we have money for fun now? And he's like, well, if we do that, we won't have money for the future. He's fearful of that because they come from such different backgrounds. And what I find is the way I describe what you were talking about and what they're dealing with is money wounds. They grew up with different financial backgrounds, and she grew up in a life of abundance. He grew up in a life of lack. And so that informs how they view money as they brought that into their marriage. And we have to be able to recognize it as money wounds.
Yeah. How do you, like, because your marriage is kind of a merger, the two become one, and different philosophies try to merge. Like one of my kids, I was trying to teach them about saving and said, Dad, I don't really understand. Why would I save up for something I want later when there's something I want now? It's like
a good argument.
It didn't make any sense. It's like, hey, what's the point? But when you merge, because spenders tend to marry savers, people that talkers marry listeners, spenders marry savers. People are kind of enamored with people that are really different than them and have different skill sets, and oftentimes end up married to them. How do you? And then a lot of couples just ignore finances because when they bring it up, they argue about it. So it's kind of a source of conflict. Where does a couple start? And where does a couple start that say the couple's listening? We don't talk about money that much. It is a low-lying conflict in our marriage. Where do they start? Would you tell them?
Yeah, great question. Well, universally, people, if they have a choice between winning with money God's way or not winning with money, they would choose winning. And so we know that we universally would like to manage money well. And so I tell couples, hey, if you don't know where to start, you should start by going through the process outlined in Romans 12, 1 and 2 on how to determine and test what God's will is for your life, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And if you unpack it, Brad, there's three things that lead to the operator word, then you will be able to test. And he says to offer your body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to the Lord. It's your spiritual act of worship. So it's saying open-handed life. God, what is it you've called us as a couple to do? And then it says, don't conform any longer to the pattern of this world. Financially speaking, let's talk about what the pattern of this world is. It's greed, it's envy, it's pride, it's look out for number one, no matter what it takes to happen to anybody else. And then it says a third thing that's just really important. It says, and be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And the word renewing means to use again, to have a changed mind. And that happens through prayer, fasting, reading God's word, wise counsel. And it says, if those three things are true, then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is for your life, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So as a practical step, I encourage couples who can't seem to get on the same page financially to go on a date, to approve the budget, to go to Starbucks. It'll cost you $8, but you'll go there, get yourself, a cafe Americano, 3 shots of fresh made espresso, 7 billion degree water, and then individually write down your plans, hopes, and dreams for your life together. And you're not allowed to talk until your drink is down to drinkable temperature. It's about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then begin share those dreams with each other. And then I say that the killer question is to say, if we keep managing our resources the way we are right now, will we be able to fund these dreams? Will they come true? And let that discomfort drive you to say, what do we need to do differently? What do we need to do more of? And for me, I am the spender. My wife is a saver. Jen is. That question and that process is what brought me, the spender, to the table to actually have a conversation that was productive, focused on money instead of the blame game. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I like that because it gives them a chance to think individually, not you're spending too much, you're too tight, you're restrictive. It's more self-reflective than it is other accusatory. So I really do like that. And I know the people you're talking to come from a lot of different places. Some people you're talking to right now are literally upside down in debt, and it's a struggle because of that. You're talking to others that have quite a bit, but don't really have much of a budget or much of a plan because they don't feel financial stress. So let's start with the ones that are more in the lack, which is probably more than the other, that are maybe in debt, maybe, having trouble budgeting. So they have this meeting. Where do they go from here? What's their first step to, like, say there's 700 a month upside down right now on their expenses, which isn't uncommon. What do you tell them?
Well, we say put together a budget. You got to start with a budget. You can start with pencil paper. You can use a downloadable budget from our tool at fullyfunded.life. You can create one in Microsoft Excel or Google Spreadsheets. But it starts with saying, where are you at right now? So I love the idea of downloading the last 90 days of spending from your bank account and from your credit card. Dump that document, that statement into ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whichever one you're using, and say, create a basic budget for me. And can you identify areas that we may be overspending? And let that start you with a basic budget. And when you do that, well, then it's not your spouse telling you you've done wrong. It's, well, you can blame AI. AI is telling me that I did this wrong. And it's a lot easier because I don't have emotions towards AI necessarily. I have emotions towards my spouse, and I don't realize that I'm rolling those all up to attack we've all had less than stellar moments, Brad, in our marriages when it comes to money conversations. I remember I just finished building this dream house for my wife, and we had overspent. Can you believe we overspent on a new build, on a new construction? We overspent. And I remember she went and she bought new towels. And, I don't know what it was, $400 for new towels for 3.5 bathrooms. And I threw an absolute fit because it wasn't in the budget. And I had to go back and apologize, because, for us, having conversations about money is not a problem to be solved. I've learned you can't solve it. It's a tension to be managed. And that's hugely important because I think couples think when they're struggling, you're talking about those in lack, we call that struggle. You're not dreaming about swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck. You just want to be able to pay the light bill and pay your bills. And a budget will help you get order so that you can do that with confidence. And it will begin to move you towards stability. So, Brad, whenever I'm speaking or teaching or talking to a couple, I put them in one of three categories: struggle, stable, and surplus. But what I've discovered is, Brad, when you're in surplus, you still have money problems. They just change names. But it's a problem to be managed, not a problem to be solved.
Now, that's really helpful because a lot of people's like, we have money tensions. Well, so does everybody. So, a lot of times in Scripture says if you're married, you will have much trouble. So that's just part of the deal. When you merge two people with different finance, different attitudes, different brains, different genders, and you just merge them into one family and you think it's going to be without tension, you're wrong. So now I know a lot of people struggle with, back the old envelope system, and now people don't use cash much because they want airline points. And, there's YNAB, you need a budget app there, which you guys have. There's creating, and a lot of folks struggle at first step because they're just struggling to find a real easy tool to use. I know I've tried them before, Joe, and it's I get confused and I get this and I check out, or all of a sudden it says it's $40 a month to use this budget app. And so, I've struggled myself to find the right thing. Then I did my own my Excel spreadsheet, but I'm not very techie, so I have trouble moving it from month to month, and I get confused and dump that. What do you tell people? What should we use, and what's easy?
Well, what's easy and what's free is Microsoft Excel or Google Spreadsheets. It does the math for you. If you don't like that stuff and you're not a so-called techie, hey, you can put your numbers into ChatGPT. You can write them on a piece of paper, take a picture, upload it to ChatGPT, and say, put this in a spreadsheet for me. And it will do it. And it's incredible, and it'll do it in 22 seconds for free. And there's no ongoing cost related to it. But I will say, everybody that I know that really gets good at budgeting actually gets counsel in their life. They end up with somebody who's already been doing that for a while, and they navigate budgeting with them for 3, 4, 5 months in a row until it becomes a new learned skill set. I always liken it to this, Brad. I love basketball. I know your Kentucky Wildcats have been really good at basketball a time or two.
It's
I was an Indiana Hoosier fan.
it's been years. At
Been a
least
while.
for you guys, it's been decades.
I'm
But
a
for us,
Purdue fan. I'm a Purdue fan though, and we were
but
Elite Eight this year, and we've made it to the finals. We've never won it, but when I first picked up a basketball, I didn't make my first shot. I didn't make my first layup even. I didn't dribble properly. And so for some reason, people think that money should be something that they are experts at overnight. And it feels awkward. But you know what? I kept dribbling a basketball, kept shooting a basketball. Suddenly I started being pretty good. Suddenly I started making the team, right? Because I put in work. I practiced at it. And I didn't allow a miss to make me say, oh, I'm terrible at basketball. I'm no good. But the other side of it is I also didn't esteem to be Michael Jordan, right? Same basketball, same court. He's Michael Jordan. I'm Joe Sangl. So what I learned is, hey, what is it that I'm really aiming at? I want these plans, hopes, and dreams achieved. And I need help. So I went and got counsel in my life that helped me really get a budget that works for me. And what I tell people is when I coach them, I help them with an Excel budget or a Google Sheets budget or in our Fully Funded Life app, or even on paper if they prefer. And then I will say, I'm going to meet with you again a month from now. And when I meet with you, you're going to quickly tell me what you did not do right. We run to tell, it's like confession. But I want you to also bring with me what worked. And then we're going to do it again. And then at the end of that month, you're going to come to me and we're going to see how you did, what worked, what did not work, make tweaks. And when I see tweaks happening, when they start adjusting it to make it work for them, that's when I know that this new plan is going to work and it's going to yield profit.
Now, probably 90% of our listeners right now probably need that person to give them that 4 or 5 months. How do they find that person and how do they go about implementing that?
Well, it can start with somebody in your life that you see is a wise steward and ask them to help you. Not as a sales pitch. That's one reason why I include one-on-one coaching in Fully Funded Life. Like a member can be a member for $149 a year and they get unlimited Zoom coaching appointments with our coaches. And it's on Zoom with their budget tool and they're getting counsel in that and they can meet unlimited number of times in the year with them. And that's why I included it because it's hard. It is a hard conversation to say, we're struggling, we're not doing well, we need help with this. And then who do I trust? And then who can I have help me without it costing me an arm and 2 legs? And that's why I included coaching. And what we have found is that people will go to those 2-3 coaching appointments a month apart. And then we'll start seeing those tweaks that start working for them. And then we won't hear from them individually for 6 months, 12 months, because that new skill set takes off and starts to work for them.
So our listeners say they're thinking, well, I don't want a friend because I don't want to know all I'm spending or not spending, or it's kind of awkward or weird. And so how do they sign up with you guys? And so it's $149 a year.
Yeah.
They get your budgeting app. Is your budgeting app easy to use?
Well, we like to say it is. If they're not tech savvy, so to speak, like if they don't like using computers, it's not going to be easy. But if they use computers, and they're native digital folks, it's going to work great.
Okay. And so it's $149 a year. And what does that come with, and how do people sign up?
Yeah. It's at fullyfunded.life. They can just click learn more and sign up. And they can use a promo code called Grace Marriage with no spaces, all lowercase, Grace Marriage. And they can actually, my team said they can get 15% off if they do that. But there's also 21 different training courses in there, not including how to budget that actually works, how to rapidly pay off debt, how to work together with your spouse. We have ebooks in there, 11 ebooks. One of them I wrote called How to Manage Money with a Non-Participating Spouse. Then we also have challenges. And we have, I think, 8 challenges there, such as the 40-day budget challenge, the 21-day savings challenge, the buy your first stock challenge, a giving challenge. And then we have the coaching, and we have 4 C's. So the 4th one is community events. So we do Facebook Live events on right now relevant activities, such as right now, inflation is a big one. So we've been helping people navigate that through our live events. But ultimately, what I encourage couples to do is say, what is it that would cause you to have a productive conversation with your spouse about money that is not focused on what you did wrong or what the other did wrong, but how can you build a compelling, motivating plan that will help you fund these dreams that God has placed in your heart? And when you get that, you will find unity that you have maybe not experienced in a while in your marriage.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Joe, thank you for your ministry. And if it's okay with you, we'll continue the conversation on the next episode. But Joe, thank you for being on the Grace Marriage Podcast, and really appreciate you, what the Lord's given you, and how you're imparting it to others.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you for joining us on the Grace Marriage Podcast. We really hope you're feeling inspired to take intentional steps to grow in your marriage.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us spread the message of grace and reach even more couples.
And if you have a moment, please leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot to us and helps others discover the podcast.
To learn more about how you can grow in your marriage, visit us at gracemarriage.com. Keep building stronger, grace-filled marriages.
We'll see you next week on the Grace Marriage Podcast. Until then, keep growing in grace.